Well, here we are now, day 2 of the Revolutionary Camp. The summer camp is underway at McGill, and the entire political class has reacted now negatively. Immigration Minister, Montreal MP Marc Miller reacting against. Higher Education Minister of Quebec, Pascal Derry, against. We finally got a reaction from the City of Montreal yesterday. Alain Vaillancourt, who is responsible for public security of the executive committee, says this is unacceptable. The SPVM has apparently launched an investigation coordinating with the RCMP. But there is no concrete action regarding the actual occupation, even though the camp's promotional materials show masked gunmen with assault rifles. Let's get a reaction now from Liberal MP representing the riding of Mount Royal. Anthony Housefather is on the line. Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning. How are you, David?
Well, I'm not well, and I'm sure you're not well either. I mean, like Sandra Ferreira said a few weeks ago, j'ai mal à ma ville. It's something's wrong. Something's rotten in the state of Denmark, to quote Shakespeare here. I don't see it. I don't see why there's no action. There was a big demonstration yesterday organized, as you know, by two community groups, Jewish organizations, to try to get action from the City of Montreal. McGill doesn't seem to know what it's doing either. What's your take on the situation?
So from the beginning, this encampment has been a violation of McGill's rules, and it shouldn't have been allowed in the first place. And I said that from the beginning. Mm-hmm. I encouraged McGill not to allow it. I encouraged McGill to ask the SPVM to clear it. Mm-hmm. McGill did, more than a month ago, ask the SPVM to clear it.
That's true.
And it is completely unacceptable that the SPVM today, after having seen the promotional flyer, with people carrying weapons, knowing that this is in violation of every kind of rule and likely in violation of the criminal code, is still doing nothing. And that is disconcerting. I want to assure everybody that as soon as we saw this flyer, I spoke to Dominic LeBlanc, who's the public safety minister. Yes, I was
going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We contacted the RCMP. The RCMP contacted the Montreal police. The intelligence agencies are aware. But the police of jurisdiction is Montreal. And so the only people that can clear the encampment are the Montreal police. And if the Montreal police feel they don't have the resources to do it, they have to ask the province, because they're provincial jurisdiction. The province would be the only ones that could ask, the federal government to intervene. So right now, the RCMP, they can dialogue with the Montreal police. They can give them intelligence, but the Montreal police has to clear the encampment. And I am convinced that it is not the Montreal police that are the ones that don't want to do it. I'm convinced that they feel that that the administration of Montreal does not have their back if they did it. And that is what is frustrating.
I tend to agree with you. I think Fadi Dakar, if he was ordered to do it, he would do it.
I think if he was ordered not to, if he didn't feel that politicians would oppose him doing it, I think he would do it. I don't think he needs to be ordered. I think he would do it, but he's concerned that then he'll be criticized by the Montreal administration. And that's what's frustrating.
Anthony, how does the silence of the mayor of Montreal, Valerie Plante, still has not commented? The administration has commented, but since this broke on Thursday, this camp thing, Valerie Plante, the mayor of Montreal, has not said a word on this. Your thoughts?
I'm really upset. I think again, in the same way that Olivia Chow didn't participate in the 50,000 person march in Toronto last week to support the Jewish community, Valerie Plante has been completely absent in this file, and I think that the Jewish community in Montreal and many of our allies, because this is not just about Jews, this is about laws being applied fairly and equally to everybody, and making sure that every sense of society is protected and feels safe in our own communities. I think we're quite appalled, and I feel I feel just so disheartened and so upset, and I know that people feel like, and I get it, right, that somebody has to do something.
Yeah.
I don't care what level of government's responsible, and I get it. But when it comes to policing, the Sûreté de Québec and the RCMP just don't have the jurisdiction to walk into McGill. It just doesn't work that way with our Constitution. And I just don't understand why the SPVM has not been able to do something that seems so elementary when you have a poster that comes up with people with weapons encouraging and inciting violence.
So, Anthony, I got to ask then. I get your point, and this is totally factual. I mean, the RCMP can't just go and manage operations in a city without having the consent.
And we don't have the resources there, right? How many RCMP officers are actually in Montreal, right? We don't do the policing. Point. We're not the ones trained to do it.
No, I'm there. Yeah. I'm there. Yeah. I get it. No, but at the same time, I mean, to me, there's shades of the Ottawa occupation here in the sense that nobody wants to take the responsibilities. And this all started in Ottawa with the incompetence and the inaction of the city government. Yeah. And so here we are again. And I get what you're saying about the feds, but the provincial government, I mean, François Legault came out publicly weeks ago saying that the Montreal police should go in. Pascal Derry, who you know very well, the higher education minister, has called this out. I mean, the SQ can do more than what it's doing right now. Is it up to the Quebec government to step in?
Right. Well, so this is the question, right? Because provinces and universities both are their jurisdictions of provinces. And so I think Pascal is just as frustrated and upset as I am. Look, I think that everybody is looking at the Montreal administration, who has the police of jurisdiction, and are just aghast and amazed that they're still doing nothing. So the next people that could step in would be the province. But why the province is being put in that position by Montreal is astounding to me.
So then the question comes back to it's the city of Montreal. It's the Plante administration. I mean, you still have Bushra Manai, who is still being paid by your tax dollars as our anti-racism commissioner, who went out publicly and supporting not only the protesters, and that's her right, but she went far and beyond the pale here, talking about supporting genocide and people that were proning violence, direct violence against the Jewish people, and talking genocide and all this craziness. And so are we at the point now where we have to say that Valerie Plante is just, let's face it, let's say it, she's just supporting the protesters and doesn't really care about the Jewish community in Montreal?
Well, and again, I think it's a lot more than the Jewish community. I think that this is about public safety in our city.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
This is very different than saying we support everybody's right to demonstrate. This is not a demonstration. This is an encampment, which is a violation of McGill rules. There's been incitement to violence. There's been chants that have been, as McGill labeled them, anti-Semitic, consistently coming from the encampment. And now there is actual support of terrorist activity at the encampment. And the idea then that Montreal can't see itself intervening and hasn't come out and said the police need to dismantle the encampment is absolutely shocking to me. And I think all Montrealers will need to remember this come election next year. But that's not, waiting for 17 months until the next Montreal election. That's not the solution here. So I can only say I feel badly that the province may need to involve itself more, because it shouldn't be in their hands, but they may well need to do so, because clearly there's a complete abdication of responsibility by the mayor of Montreal and her administration on this.
All right, Anthony. It's very frustrating to talk about this situation the way it's turning out. But I mean, that's where we're at.
I feel horrible
paralyzed
for everybody involved, and I can understand why everybody says, why doesn't somebody do something? And I feel that way too. But as you know, there are jurisdictional levels, and it makes me feel even sadder about it.
I get it. And you're so right to point out, this is beyond being a Jew or not being a Jew. I mean, I'm not a Jew, and I'm appalled by this. And a lot of Montrealers, and beyond Montreal, Quebecers, Canadians, I mean, they're just appalled by this situation.
I agree. I think the silent majority needs to contact Mayor Plante's office today. She gets 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 phone calls. Maybe she'll do something.
Agreed.
Thanks so much, David.
Thank you, Anthony. Take care. Anthony Housefather, Member of Parliament representing the riding of Montreal for the Liberal Party of Canada.